Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics. It's great to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today's going to be another book review, and today's book is going to be The Dissension Process by Markus James. So this book is about a girl named Jamie. She's had some recent tragedies in her life when she discovers that she has superpowers. And as she discovers these superpowers and as she uses these superpowers, she is slowly figuring out through different things that are going on from the result of these powers. She's rediscovering herself and her position in this life and how she wants to go about living her life because she now has these powers in relationship to the suffering that she has gone through from the recent tragedies. So she's kind of discovering herself anew and discovering what her place is in this world and how she is supposed to fit into it. So that is the basic plot. So let's go ahead and jump right into what I like about it. So there are three main things I liked about this book. The first was that I really liked the superpower concept. It's not really a superhero story, and I do like that about this book. I like the superpowers that are introduced. Jamie's power is to be able to absorb other people's powers, which I think is a really unique take, especially as a main character, to have that kind of a unique ability. I like the different superpowers that are invested in this particular book, ones that we see with friends, enemies, some people in between. As we're just discovering new people, we discover what kind of powers are out there, and I do like the different concepts and the different ones that we see in this book. I also like the idea of the different subplots in this book. We've got several different plot lines going, and I like each of the actual concepts on their own. I think that there are some interesting ideas that James has developed and has put into this story. I think that there are several different ways that this could have gone, and I like the different things that are set up from him. And I also like the representation of characters that are kind of the outliers of society, as well as the ones that are like the underdogs and the ones that have challenges and how they are coming into this world, even though they've had challenges, rough backgrounds, like tough lives, or they're kind of the outliers that are kind of not seen as great to society. And I like how they have a lot of those characters in here, and they're focusing on the good that comes from these characters as well and these kind of people. So I like all of those different things. But what did I dislike about this particular book? Unfortunately for me, the dislikes kind of outweigh the likes, not as far as quantity, but as far as the quality of the book that made it whether the things were stronger for the dislikes than I had for the likes. I know I talked about how I liked the different subplots that were in this book, and I did, but I do feel like it weakened the book to have so many subplots. There are several different things going on. It's got several different ideas, different, bad guys or different things that are obstacles for Jamie, and they're kind of coming and going throughout this book interspersed. And I just feel like it really needed more focus. The book is all over the place on what it's trying to be, and I don't really know where it's trying to go based on reading it. I liked the things individually, but altogether it was just not great. I would have been really good if he had focused on one, maybe two of the different subplots and just focused on those and made those more prominent, a little bit more fleshed out, and really made that be what carried the book versus trying to do so many little different things and filling them in here and there would have been much nicer for me and my preferences. I also felt like there are some relationship buildings that in this particular book that are not really realistic to me. The main one is the relationship that she ends up building with Jesse, who ends up being her very best friend, and his little sister. They come in, I think Jesse comes in like officially as her knowing him about 50% of the way through the book, maybe a little bit more. And it's just like instant, like they are instantly best friends. Like they've barely known each other like 2 days, and she's already calling him his best friend and being like, oh, I know so much about him, and oh, I just feel like this person is like such a great friend, and like can't imagine my life without him anymore. And I just felt like that was so quick. Like, nobody, from my experience, clicks that well when the character is meant to be what's the term? Kind of a recluse a little bit, in the fact that she's very unable to trust people and she's very wary of other people. She doesn't really like to go out and do things. So I get that relationships like that can build quickly, 100%. It's not that part, but the part that she seems so hard to trust people. She's had these tragedies, she's had these hard problems, and she doesn't really like to interact with people anymore, and she's very, very untrusting of people. So for somebody like that to just instantly meet this person and just be 100% like, this person's amazing, I want to be best friends with them, let's, do everything together, and to be that quick of a relationship just did not seem realistic to me in the course of this book. Maybe that's just my opinion. Not sure, but to me it just seemed not very realistic. And then last but not least, the biggest thing for me was the point of view. This book is written for third person omniscient, and I don't feel like the omniscient portion of the third person was done super well. I feel like it is all over the place. Where first, Jamie's the main character, and we're in, like, discovering what she thinks and what she feels and all that kind of stuff a lot. But then, like, there'll be battles that'll, like, randomly switch to, like, the enemy and, like, being like, oh, what this person's thinking and feeling, and this person, and or just switching between her friends and things like that at awkward times. And I was just like, there were several times and I'm like, who even are we talking about? I don't understand who we're even, why we're switching to this person and what person did we switch to. And it's just very erratic. And I don't feel like it worked very well in this book. I really would have preferred more of a focus on Jamie herself, since she is the main character and the person we are mostly following. So these other switches and other things were not really well done. If it had been pulled back, like, the narrator seems very close to the story and very close to Jamie in particular. So if that narrator had zoomed back a bit and been more of an upward view, just glancing over this story and kind of relaying it to us, I think that would have made it stronger with the omniscient viewpoint. But being so close to the characters and so close to the events, it really just was hard to follow, and it really made my experience for reading it not as enjoyable. So overall, would I recommend this book? Unfortunately, no, I can't say that I would recommend the book to anybody for my personal preferences. It is meant to be for a younger audience. It's meant to be a YA novel, so if you are a YA reader, perhaps this might be a little bit more your level, in the fact that I do feel like it is written where a younger audience that does not have as much experience with more sophisticated writing styles and more sophisticated stories might still enjoy it. So I do feel like if you are a younger audience, or you're interested in the story based on the concept being interesting, that maybe you would be interested in at least trying it. But in general, I would not recommend this book to anybody. It is on Kindle Unlimited though, so I do think that if you think it sounds interesting and you're kind of intrigued by it, if you have that service, it's really easy to go ahead and give it a try, read a couple chapters, and you'll know pretty soon after giving it a try whether you think it's something that you want to continue reading, or if the point of view or other aspects are just not for you. So that's how I personally felt about it. Maybe there are some of you out there who really loved it, and I would love to hear your opinion if you've read it. Or if you didn't enjoy it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too, if you've read it at all. Thank you so much for listening to what I think about this book. Hopefully I will get to hear what your guys' thoughts and opinions are as well. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.